Hold on.
What up, everyone? So some of you might be wondering what the heck I've been working on for the past couple of days on my Instagram story. So basically I'm building a rotisserie for the 240. What this is essentially a giant engine stand, but instead of having the engine being turned, it's an entire vehicle being turned. So the purpose of this is so that I can stitch weld the underneath of the car and do some of the rust repair, as well as strengthen between the frame rails and do a couple other odds and ends to this project. So I want to just give a shout out to Taylor, Manny, and Kim for hanging out with me on Saturday and helping me move some of these 24-foot long pieces of C-channel and square tubing. I sincerely appreciate the help. So let me show you what I've been working on. The original pieces of this project were given to me from my father and uncle. I had to do a couple of modifications to it because the original rotisserie was made for a 1932 Ford pickup truck, and clearly this car is a lot lower than that. So there's going to be a couple of things that need to be done to get this car up and in the air and to be able to reach the point where it can go into the rotisserie itself. I got a little carried away with the gold paint. I put casters on, as well as this long piece that goes through the middle just to give it some more stability. Today I'm going to be cutting some angled pieces, 45-degree angle, and I'm going to be placing them on either side so that way it's a little bit more stable side to side as well. This piece here, as you can see, goes directly into the frame rails of the car. I used a piece of 1.5 by 1.5 inch square tubing. That's about 1/4 of an inch thick on the inside. I used 2 pieces of that. They are roughly 2 feet long in the front and the rear, and attached it to this piece. And this is the rotating piece that goes inside of here. Now this might have to be modified a little bit. We were going to drill some holes so that I can put some locking pins in, but I might actually try to just tighten this bolt up and see if that works as well, because that will save on a little bit of extra work. So these pieces are actually going to sit in here through some bolt holes. And one of my projects is just to get these holes a lot wider than they are now, so I can get some really heavy hardware in there so that everything can be mounted securely. I'll show you the back of the car. So the same thing's going on in the rear, but because the frame rails are a different height in the rear, I made a step down so that everything could fit once it's up in the air and there's no sort of difference in height between one side and the other. So that's why I have this piece of 4-inch channel in between the 2 square pieces. One of the harder parts of this project was just making sure that everything is level. So basically just use some aluminum Harbor Freight jack stands and a couple of levels just to make sure everything is good. The first thing that I'm going to do before putting the car up is taking off the front and rear suspension and wheels so that we lose a little bit of the weight that is left on this car. So yeah, she's coming along little by little, and I'm really hopeful that she's up in the air by the end of this week and we get to do some more welding on her. So now it is time to cut some of the square tubing to make the gussets and make this thing a little bit more secure before putting the car up in the air. Alright, so I'm going to do some 45-degree angle cuts on this amazing saw right here. I'm probably going to use up the rest of this square tubing because I already made a couple of these cuts already. If you watched my live video on Instagram, which you probably didn't because, like, who really cares, right? So since I've already made a 45-degree cut on one end, I'm going to roll this entire material over 180 degrees because I want to make the opposite cut on this other end so that it fits flush onto the vertical piece of my rotisserie. 32.5 inches. Ready? Put some cutting oil in here. Start it off slow. Right. 45 degree. 45 degree. Let's see if it fits. So as you can see here, we are pretty close. No gap there. Little tiny bit of a gap here, but we're gonna fill that in with the MIG welding. So that should be good. Time to do the other side. Got a million things in the way right now because my work actually needs to like be productive about their work. Looks pretty decent to me. So you got to see some of my project. This rotisserie is going to be finished up in the next day or two. Feel free to comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I don't really care. It doesn't affect my life in any way. So hope you have a great week. Peace out.